And we're back with the Fox News alert. As America retreats from Afghanistan, it didn't take long for Russia and China to fill the power vacuum. As the rest of the world was evacuating their embassies in Kabul, not Russia and China, they were keeping their doors open, signifying their willingness to work with the Taliban. And with America out of the picture, China is now the major economic force in the region. Reuters said the following: China can now deliver aid, investment, and technical support. Chinese state miners can help Afghanistan exploit its vast mineral reserves, valued at over $3 trillion, according to officials, and that's from 2017. But as the communist nation clamps down on freedoms in Hong Kong and preferably in Taiwan if they had their own way, they're beginning their warnings. They told the Taiwanese people this. They said America will abandon them too. Look at this. This is from state media, who tweeted, "From what happened in Afghanistan, those in Taiwan should perceive that once a war breaks out in the Straits, the island's defenses will collapse in hours, and U.S. military won't come to help." So, has our withdrawal emboldened China? Is this one of the costs of the collapse of the last 72 hours? David Tafuri is a former Obama State Department official, and he joins me now. David, thank you for being with me. How do you think people are sleeping tonight in Taiwan? I can't imagine soundly.
Well, that tweet is from Global Times. Global Times is just a newspaper that's a mouthpiece for the Chinese Communist Party. So that's propaganda. That's Chinese fear-mongering in Taiwan, trying to worry Taiwan. The situation between America and Taiwan is very different from Afghanistan. We don't have troops in Taiwan, haven't for a long time, but we've had over a 70-year alliance. It's a complicated alliance, but we've stood by Taiwan. We don't have
David,
a security promise that will defend Taiwan.
Because the 2 points that you make so far, I would think, would make the Taiwanese people even more nervous. You're telling me that a warning came from official state media, propaganda. That means they might mean what they say. That's coming from the Chinese government. What more, you point out that the United States doesn't have troops in Taiwan. Well, the Afghan people just watched as thousands of troops abandoned that country in a matter of hours. So if you're living in a country where American troops had a presence and now you are living under the rule of the Taliban, how do you think people living in a country where there is no American troop presence must feel when they have an official warning on their hands?
Well, it's not news to the people of Taiwan that China opposes them and opposes their democracy. Everyone in Taiwan is aware of that and aware of that threat.
But it might be news that the United States of America might not be there to back them up.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about that. You know, the videos that are coming out of Kabul are concerning and should be concerning to all. But the deal for us to leave Afghanistan was signed by President Trump in February 2020, and people seem to forget that on your show. It was President Trump that did this deal. In fact, under his deal, he would have had all American forces out of Afghanistan by May. It was Biden that extended it until September. So this was a foregone conclusion that Biden followed after Trump did it. Remember, also, President Trump gave 5,000 Taliban prisoners and released them in order to get the deal, a pretty bad deal in the first place. And many of those 5,000 Taliban fighters have rejoined the Taliban.
You know, David, I don't think anybody on this program has forgotten that President Trump supported leaving Afghanistan. It's possible you were getting your mic and your IFB plugged in during the first segment of the show, so you might not have heard us talk about that very fact. But we make a very important point, which is a factual and truth-seeking point, to distinguish about whether or not we leave Afghanistan with how we leave Afghanistan. And the point we're getting at today is who steps into our vacuum when we step out and leave chaos, the way that Joe Biden and our military leaders have left in the last 72 hours. We see immediately that our adversaries in China and Russia step up. And I would have to think, we don't have to focus specifically on Taiwan. If you're a United States ally in the Middle East, if you're a United States ally anywhere in this world, but most specifically, if you're a United States ally in Taiwan, you would look at the last 72 hours and think, I'm not sure we can trust the United States of America.
But then you seem to be arguing that we should have kept the troops in Afghanistan for a long time, for the foreseeable future. And I think there's an argument that we should have. But once President Trump signed the deal to pull the troops out from Afghanistan, this was always going to happen, whether it was under Biden or under Trump. There was going to be
Joe Biden,
some
1 month
chaos.
ago, they said 1 month ago this wouldn't happen, though. But you said this was always going to happen. Right. That's the same thing Joe Biden said today. But I could roll the tape from less than a month ago of Joe Biden saying this would never happen.
I think everyone knew it was going to eventually happen. It happened more quickly because the Taliban gained strength very quickly. It snowballed in many towns and cities. They switched over when they saw that the Taliban was gaining in power because they cared most about their own safety. And so that's why it happened so quickly. But it was always going to happen. And actually, so far, although it looks really bad, it's not as bad as it could have been. There aren't reprisal killings yet in Kabul, and there may be. And I'll be one of the first people complaining about it if it happens. But there aren't so far yet reprisal killings, and we still don't exactly know what the Taliban is going to do. The Taliban is committed to having an inclusive government. I personally am very skeptical of that, but there are people in the Biden administration and certainly in the Trump administration who still believe the Taliban is not the Taliban of the 1990s, and it might have an inclusive government. And let's see.
The Taliban might just have an inclusive government, right? I'm sure that's something we can all hold our breath to see. Maybe they will follow, for example, some of the guidance in the United States that we can rename breastfeeding chest feeding. I'm sure that's the kind of expectation we should hold for as we look at the Taliban.
I said I'm skeptical of that.
I appreciate that skepticism. I'll tell you, I appreciate that skepticism. I think it's more than skepticism. I think it's realism. And I will tell you that I hope in the future the United States bar isn't simply to cross no reprisal killings. I hope we can do better than mass chaos. And I hope we can do better than lies over a 1 month period of time. I hope we can do better than what we've heard from the Biden administration in the last month. And I think the people of Taiwan and Israel and every other ally across this world are hoping. That may be all they're left with, hope, but hoping for the same thing from this great country. I appreciate you being with me tonight, David.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, it's back to school time for students.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.